about consistency or quality. Not only that, but we're told she's a time traveler. Why doesn't she just travel back 50 years and kill Prince Bloodysword when he was a baby? Oh, let me guess. Because she doesn't want to kill anyone. We all know what that means. Sparkletina's a fascist. Fairy Princess Adventure is officially cancelled. Over the past 3 years, media criticism and video essays have blown up in popularity. Lindsay Ellis's channel went from about 5,000 subscribers at the beginning of 2016 to more than 500,000 now. Dan Olson, or Folding Ideas, has gone from about 2,000 to more than 200,000, and scores of new video essay channels like me, Big Joel, or Taylor J. Williams have started popping up. Unfortunately, quantity doesn't always equal quality, and sadly, a lot of what passes itself off as good faith media criticism is not. In particular, content like CinemaSins, The Nostalgia Critic, and more recently, a lot of multi-hour video essays dedicated to dissecting certain shows end up doing more harm than they do good. I know this is probably pretty ironic coming from the person who likes to make videos complaining about certain TV shows for a living, especially because I too like to use attention-grabbing titles and thumbnails to encourage people to watch my videos, and it's very possible that some of my own videos have fallen into some of the traps that I'm going to talk about here. I mean, I like to think the stuff I make is, analytical and good, but I'm not discounting the possibility that it isn't always. Along a similar vein, I'm also not saying that the people who create bad media criticism are bad people, just that the content they create isn't always good. What I primarily want to talk about is bad faith criticism of media and why I think it's ultimately harmful to the, in my opinion, good idea of analyzing the things we like. So first of all, how did we get here? Criticisms of various films, TV shows, games, and podcasts on YouTube are not new. In fact, they've existed ever since the platform did. And if you follow any history of YouTube, most people will cite the angry video game nerd as one of the first YouTube content creators to bring media criticism into the collective consciousness of mainstream YouTube. In 2006, shortly after YouTube was created, James Rolfe started posting videos where he would play this easily angered, bitter guy ranting about various video games. And this is an interesting case. This is a guy who, in his early videos, was definitely playing a character. In these videos, the nerd was the butt of the joke. The intention was to laugh at this pathetic guy getting overly offended about old video games. But a strange thing started happening. People took his reviews seriously. They liked him. Pretty soon, Rolfe started making serious reviews of video games and sharing his genuine opinions. Not only that, but other YouTubers quickly started to imitate his format, even going so far as to steal specific jokes and criticisms verbatim. I won't talk about this too much, mainly because it's already been discussed. If you haven't seen it already, a YouTuber named Quentin Reviews had a very interesting video about the angry video game nerd's influence over YouTube as a whole, and I'll link it below. A year later, a similar creator, ostensibly playing an angry character, Doug Walker, or The Nostalgia Critic, surfaced. His videos were similarly focused on getting obscenely mad over nostalgic content, the main difference being that he primarily focused on movies. Once again, a similar theme started to surface. He initially chose to really separate himself from his character, making it clear that the Nostalgia Critic was a pathetic nerd who got angry over nothing. But as his content became more and more popular, his videos became more about sharing his genuine thoughts. In fact, nowadays, he hosts content on YouTube that's just him and his brother watching movies for the first time and authentically reacting to them. And oftentimes, his initial reactions end up making their way into the Nostalgia Critic reviews, albeit in a more grating tone of voice. So while we initially got these reviewers deliberately playing these easily angered characters who you were clearly not supposed to agree with, the line between what the character thinks and what the creator thinks became a lot more blurred until you got a sort of review style that was just an angry guy sharing his genuine negative opinions about media, but like with a lot of screaming and swearing. And this review style, angry man screams about how terrible things are, did dominate YouTube for a long time. That's not to say that channels based on thoughtful critiques of various forms of media didn't exist. You did have some similar channels who were affiliated with Channel Awesome that made analytical content. I mean, Lindsay Ellis started making videos in 2008, albeit not remotely at the same analytical level as her videos today. But with a few notable exceptions like Beyond the Trailer, these YouTubers were not the ones receiving the most clout. Rather, critics who were the most popular pre-2010 did largely fit into the angry screaming dude mold, and aspiring critics mostly imitated them. YouTube's increase in popularity, especially in early 2010, saw a notable increase in the diversity of review content. This is when a lot of channels who are now household names began to make videos. Among others, CinemaSins, Screen Rant, Ralph the Movie Maker, and The Black Nerd began regularly uploading reviews, all using different styles and formats. Some of these worked and some of these did not. While the angry screaming dude style of content did continue to be popular, we also saw the rise in formats like 2 or 3 people sit down and talk about movies unscripted, or stylized reviews with original music and visuals. And one particular format that's recently taken the internet by storm is the video essay. It's hard to say exactly who was the first YouTube video essayist, mainly because the first YouTube videos that functioned as formalized essays read out loud over clips from whatever's being reviewed weren't yet calling themselves video essays. With that said, one of the earliest very popular people to use this format to criticize media was the Nerdwriter. Although his first video upload was over 7 years ago, his initial videos were primarily unscripted vlogs where he discussed his thoughts on various issues like Scientology and the Iraq War. Around late 2013, he started transitioning to scripted film reviews, still using the facecam format without any supplementary materials to talk about movies like The Hobbit. Then, in May 2014, he made a video called The Mythic Potential of Comic Book Films, in which he discussed various comic book movies with visual and auditory accompaniment. From that moment on, all of his videos began to use this format to massive success. The Nerdwriter now has nearly 2.5 million subscribers, a far cry from his vlog days. Another YouTube channel, Every Frame a Painting, began using the same format around the same time. The channel was created by 2 friends, Taylor Ramos and Tony Zhou. Their first video, analyzing the 2009 film Mother, was posted in April 2014. Their videos began incorporating music by May. These videos focused primarily on the technical elements of filmmaking, like different ways to visually portray text messages on screen or how to best use music to portray emotion. Although their last video was posted in September 2016 and they've officially announced the end to their channel, the format popularized by these 2 channels remains massively successful, and Every Frame a Painting still boasts 1.5 million subscribers despite its 2-year-long inactivity. Although it's doubtful that these 2 channels were the first people to ever create YouTube video essays, they were some of the most popular in the format's early days. From there, many channels followed the video essay craze. Now You See It started his channel and began creating videos in June 2015. Lindsay Ellis made her first video essay in April 2016. This was when her channel began to grow into the double digits. And Folding Ideas posted his first video essay in August 2016, once again receiving a massive boost in followers. Most of these essays primarily focused on either the usage of specific filming and editing techniques to achieve certain effects in film, overarching trends in several films, or things we may not have noticed about specific films like Inglourious Basterds or Phantom of the Opera. The first really popular video essays that were primarily about criticizing those films and explaining why certain aspects didn't really work were Lindsay Ellis's. Again, that's not to say she was the first person ever to do it, but she was definitely one of the first people to get really popular doing it. Now, like I said, videos explaining why certain things were bad have existed since YouTube did. We have things like CinemaSins and The Nostalgia Critic, but this format, an analytical one that was presented in the same style as a formalized essay, was relatively new. Once again, this kicked off a trend of heavily critical video essays, which brings me to one video in particular that I want to talk about. Sherlock is Garbage and Here's Why is a video essay posted in May 2017 by game critic and leftist YouTuber HBomberGuy. It's nearly 2 hours long, and it goes into an exhaustive list of the various problems associated with the popular BBC show Sherlock. I definitely found myself disagreeing with certain aspects of the video, but on the whole, it's a well-researched video that makes several legitimate points about issues with the show. Even if I don't fully agree with every criticism he mentions, I think it's a well-made attempt to engage in good faith with a show he dislikes, and I don't have anything negative to say about it. The video currently has nearly 3 million views, and just like the angry video game nerd of days of old, it's inspired several copycats. Those are less good. As far as I can find, the first use of the blank is garbage and here's why YouTube format originated with HBomberGuy. The first time he used it was in a video game review. Although that one actually has more views than his Sherlock video, it was only after the Sherlock review came out that people really started to imitate this title structure. Indeed, the past year after his Sherlock video came out has seen dozens of videos imitating both his titling conventions and the actual structure of his content to varying degrees of success. 2 of the most popular videos imitating both HBomberGuy's branding and his content are 2 videos by a YouTuber named Lily Orchard, respectively titled The Legend of Korra is Garbage and Here's Why and Steven Universe is Garbage and Here's Why. Both of these videos are similar lengths to HBomberGuy's, at times use the same jokes as his, and are structured in the exact same way. Interesting. But I'm not here to criticize those videos for being ripoffs or whatever, nor are these the only videos that I want to talk about here. What I want to do is use these videos, as well as channels like CinemaSins and The Nostalgia Critic, as examples of what happens when good principles like comedy or criticism get so distorted that they end up doing the exact opposite of good faith criticism. So now that everyone is on the same page vis-a-vis context, I'd like to talk about some of the common features associated with media criticism that is not good.